Hello everyone, and in this video I'm going to be covering my first round which I played in the Newport Major Congress. So there are three sections in the Newport Congress. There was the Open, which was for any ratings, and then the Major, which was under 1900 FIDE or anything equivalent. And if it's the English rating it would have been inflated, and then there was the Minor, which was for under 1650 FIDE or equivalent. So let's have a look at my first game. So I was paired with, I'm not going to say I'll just, for privacy purposes, I've just got their first initial. I've got their rating and everything though. So I start with d4. We had 90 minutes plus 30 seconds every move. So just a standard classical time control. And my opponent went e6. Now this is something I haven't really prepared against that much. So here if I do go in e4, then they play d5, and let's be honest, if you play e6 and d5, you're going to be happy that you're in this position. Because they would have faced the French at least 60% of the time, because most people play e4 over the board. Well, usually. So, I just went c4. I wasn't too happy with this, because I have a different system against the Dutch, which doesn't involve pushing the c-pawn straight away. But I just had to play into this, so I definitely was a bit annoyed, but I just played into this. I did know a bit of theory, but then here I was just out of theory. All I knew was that I need to fianchetto both sides, and when black gets ready to push e5, I have to play d5 to stop him and take on e6 and everything. Knight c3, now a6 was played, and here also. So there's two ways that black can prepare the move e5. So once they get the move e5 in, they can bring the queen to e8, bring the queen to h5, push f4, bring this bishop into h3, start attacking this weak king, and they can play knight g4, and once they open up the f file, they can sometimes sacrifice on f3, and they can sometimes just get devastating attacks. So you have to be careful with that, and that's why e5 is such an important break. So we'll just go forward now. So there's two ways that black can prepare this e5 break. So it's with the move knight c6 or knight bd7. So if they bring the knight to, say he played knight d7 here, I have the move knight g5 here, and black has to go back to b8, because otherwise I win the exchange. So just a random h6, knight takes e6, I'm winning the rook because it's a fork. So black would have to go back to b8, and I can go bishop b2, h6, knight to f3. To be honest, this move it looks good, but it could actually block some squares which for potential rook lifts towards this king. And I think overall I'm up a tempo here as well. Say this, compare this position to that position. I've got the bishop out. He's got this random move h6, so this would be better for me, definitely. So but my opponent went queen b8, queen to a8 here, with the idea to bring the queen to h5. Oh, and also, sorry, I forgot to say, when I went knight c3, I think my opponent's idea was to bring the queen to h5, and I did know that plan. But they played a6 first to stop knight b5 and knight takes c7 and winning the exchange. Although this move is too slow, and actually the correct move order is to play the move queen to a8 first, because it doesn't matter that sometimes I go knight b5 and take on c7, winning the exchange and everything. And the reason for that is that black's attack can sometimes just be so aggressive and so quick. Remember, the aim of the game is to checkmate the king, so it doesn't matter how much material white has. Black can usually checkmate in these lines if white gets too greedy, basically. But my opponent, he told me after the game he wasn't too experienced with this Dutch type thing, classical Dutch. And I wasn't either, so here I definitely was feeling a bit worried. So I know that now, because the queen is on h5, the g5 square is controlled. So let's say just a random move, knight c6 would be played. If knight c6 is played to try and push e5, I would play d5, attacking the knight there, and then what was the move order? I think knight takes e5, d takes e5, d takes, bishop takes e6. And I think I was thinking about putting the knight to d5, and it's an interesting position because this pawn is quite weak, and I have central control, but black can sometimes plan to push f4, but I mean, I was going to go something along the lines of this, but the problem is here now black can go knight bd7, and then once they go, I can't push d5 and try and break up this structure, which is the biggest problem. And also, just with this line, if knight to e5, actually I might have gone d takes e6, bishop takes, and like knight d5 here straight away, because, or like queen c2 and queen c2, and then e4 as I did in the game. But I mean, yeah, so that was what I was worried about. So now here, like knight bd7, I was just worried that e5 would get played. So now I was thinking, I need to make some drastic measures. I need to push e4 in this position. And I did calculate for a long time. I was down to half an hour here. There's 60, down to 60 minutes. So I'd spent half an hour, like between the start and queen c2. And he went knight bd7. The idea to push e5. So I pushed e4 now. This is an important move. And my opponent played f4 in 1 minute. And let's find mistakes. So f4 isn't a good move, because even though it looks like it's opening up my king, when I analysed this for longer, and I did spend quite a long time, 13 minutes, because it is quite a critical position, because if g takes f4 is played and black has a follow-up which wins the game, I'll lose the game there itself. So I spent 13 minutes here, and when I played g takes f4 I was on 47 minutes. My opponent played knight g4. I could definitely tell he was annoyed by this fact. And now here my idea was bring the knight to e2, bring the knight to g3 with a tempo, and then play f5 to close off this bishop, because this bishop is the major attacking piece. And then I'll just be in a way better position there. And that's basically what happened. So e5 was played here, knight g3, queen g6, f5, queen to e8, and so here I needed to formulate a plan where I could somehow liquidate the position, so the position would be better for me. And I spent about 10 minutes here. So I played d takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and then the move f4 to open up the position. And I think this is quite a good move, because it opens up the diagonal to the king. My plan now was to actually reverse the attack onto the black's king side now, with ideas like knight to h5, sometimes queen c3, maybe with threats, although there is bishop f6 sometimes, which is why knight to h5 is prepared to stop that, and like bishop f3 to protect this, stop h5. Lots of interesting ideas in this game. So knight c6 was played as probably the best move, and now I played the move bishop f3. I'm actually down to 20 minutes now. And my opponent's now down to 30 minutes. He plays bishop f6, just countering the bishop on this diagonal, staring into each other's souls. And then here I play rook d1, although I think this might have been a bit too slow. I don't really remember, but there's like a problem about knight d4, and sometimes he can take off this bishop and like push h5, because then there'd be only one defender there and he'd still have that. So I just played rook d1, knight b4, and to be honest, black's position is already looking really bad, so I played queen d2 now, attacking the knight, a5, a3, knight c6. Now I went king h1, with the idea to bring the rook to g1, play the move knight to h5, and at some point take on f6, and this king is just getting absolutely butchered. Now he took on b2, and I think it's a bad move, but it's essentially all that black has at this point, because next move I'm threatening knight to h5, like double the g pawns, double the pawns like this, and just absolutely destroy black when they bring the king to h8 with this check and everything. Oh no, sorry, not check, but like bring the rook into g7, get this, and it's going to be a really bad position. So queen takes b2 was played. Now queen f7, and now I played the move knight to h5 because black's idea is to bring the queen to f6, so if I need to control that square now. I think g6 might have been an idea, but g6 just looks terrible. I do know. I actually might be wrong. Wait, I'm not too sure, but no, actually g6 probably isn't the best move. But king to h8 looks like it's stepping off the g file, but it's stepping right into another diagonal. So I just go rook g1. And after the move rook g8, I sacrifice the rook with rook takes g7. And after rook takes g7, I play the move rook g1. The best option black has is knight to e5. Now I just play rook takes g7. Of course, I did have to see this, like when he played rook g8, I have to see up to here basically. But I mean, here there's a forced checkmate here apparently. But I mean, let's play the most fancy move. Because if he just moves the queen, then his rook takes h7 checkmate or rook g8 mate. And if king takes c7, there's knight takes c8, and I take everything, and I just absolutely destroy him because I'm up like 9 points of material. So this was a really nice win, and as you can see, I was like 150 points lower rated in terms of like the FIDE or English or whatever. So it was really nice to win this game, and I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. I think I'll probably get the second recap out shortly. See you in the next one.